In my last video, I discussed the index and the tabular list of the I10-CM codebook. As you learned, the index is divided into 4 parts. In this video, I will be discussing the Table of Neoplasms, and I will give examples on how to use the Table of Neoplasms. If you have any questions, let me know.
Table of Neoplasms. What does it look like? There are 6 columns: malignant primary, malignant secondary, carcinoma in situ, benign, uncertain behavior, and unspecified behavior. Also referred to as the neoplasm table, the Table of Neoplasms is an index that lists codes from neoplastic conditions such as malignant tumors and diseases and benign growths. Organization. It's alphabetical by site and then by neoplasm behavior. To find the code for a neoplasm using the Table of Neoplasms, it is necessary to identify the site of the neoplasm and then the behavior. However, if you know the histological type of the neoplasm, then it can be located by finding the histological type of the neoplasm in the main index. The histological type of the neoplasm is the specific type of microscopic structure of the neoplastic growth, such as carcinoma, myeloma, or sarcoma. The histology of the neoplasm is also referred to as the morphology of the neoplasm or morphological type of neoplasm. And if the morphology is not known, then you must refer to the Table of Neoplasms. The picture on the right is an example of the neoplasms table. As you can see in the column on the left, all of these terms are in alphabetical order. You've got bronchitis with the subterms, brow with subterms, and so on. And then you can see that some of them also have words in parentheses, which are the non-essential modifiers. So after you find the term that you're looking for in this left-hand column, you're then going to move on to the next step, which is the neoplasm behavior. And then based on the documentation, you would select the code from the appropriate column. So if it was a benign tumor, you would select a code from the benign column. Steps to looking up a neoplasm. 1. Search for the morphological type of the neoplasm in the main index. Identify the morphological type of the neoplasm and look it up in the main index. And oftentimes this will lead you to the Table of Neoplasms, but not always. If the morphological type of the neoplasm is in the main index, it's going to give you the code for the neoplasm without you having to reference the Table of Neoplasms. You still have to complete it by checking the tabular. As always, check that tabular. Step 2, search for the site of the neoplasm in the neoplasms table. So when the morphological type of the neoplasm is not known or not specified in the main index, you must reference the neoplasm table and search for the site of the neoplasm. Number 3, identify the behavior of the neoplasm and select a code from the neoplasm table. So what you're going to do is identify the behavior of the neoplasm and then select a code. And once the site is found in the neoplasm table, identify the behavior of the neoplasm and select the code for the appropriate behavior. Number 4, verify the code in the tabular list. You will verify the code in the tabular list just like you did in the main index in the last video. Example, right-sided renal cell adenocarcinoma. You are looking for the code for right-sided renal cell adenocarcinoma. You would look up the morphological type of cancer in the main index, which is adenocarcinoma, and locate the subterm renal cell. This gives you code C64 with a hyphen. You would then reference that in the tabular. In the tabular, you can see the red box to the left of C64 indicating that more characters are needed. Once you've reviewed the indented, more specific codes, you can pick the one that applies. In this case, it is right-sided, so we will select C64.1. Example, malignant neoplasm of right kidney. For this example, the morphological type is not listed, so you would go directly to the Table of Neoplasms and find the entry for kidney. In parentheses next to kidney, you see parenchymal. This is a non-essential modifier. In addition, there are also a few subterms. At this point, we have two options based off of the documentation. We can select a code for malignant primary or malignant secondary. And remember that a secondary neoplasm is a growth or metastasis of the primary neoplasm. Since the diagnosis does not mention that it is a secondary neoplasm or that it is a metastasis, we would select the code for primary neoplasm, which is the C64 with a hyphen. And then to go ahead and finish that code out, we would reference the tabular and it would give us the same code, which is C64.1. The end.
Hey, thanks for watching, and make sure to hit that subscribe button.